From Interior Alaska's most trusted news source, this is the Fbx Evening News.
Good evening and thanks for joining us. Our top story tonight, the City of Fairbanks mayor has called for a federal review in the case of the Fairbanks Four.
That's right. Mayor John Eberhard joined the Tanana Chiefs Conference in their request for an independent review of the case, citing the, quote, actions or inactions of the Fairbanks Police Department, end quote. According to a release, TCC President Victor Joseph noted that the case has created a distrust of the Fairbanks Police Department after the news of an alleged confession by another person was provided to FPD and they, quote, did nothing with the information, end quote. Mayor Eberhard wrote a response supporting the decision, saying he would discuss an independent review of the Fairbanks Police Department once a new chief is hired.
There were two requests in the letter. The first request was that we join Tanana Chief's request for an independent federal review of the Hartman case and the 4 Alaska Native men. The second request was that we, the city, conduct an internal review of our police department and how the whole case was handled. You know, in the interest of truth and justice for the 4 Alaska Native men as well as Mr. Hartman, my office, the mayor's office, supports the request for an independent federal review.
More delays in the trial of a longtime Fairbanks North Star Borough School District employee facing numerous sexual abuse charges. Claude Folks, a tutor at Hutchinson High School, appeared today in Fairbanks Superior Court as his lawyers attempted to delay the trial in yet another case against him. Folks' first alleged victim came forward early this year, claiming Folks sexually abused him on school grounds multiple times. Later, a second alleged victim, the victim in the case this afternoon, came forward claiming Folks also sexually abused him during his time at Tanana Middle School. Folks spoke out in court this afternoon about his representation in the newest of the two cases.
Because I've had little to no representation with this case.
Right, I understand the difficulty of you being here and them being there, and the discovery is being sent to the attorney. That's why it isn't here.
Because on record, I do not want to lay my report back.
I understand.
Okay.
But you also want to have your attorney have looked at the evidence. So.
Right.
Lawyers for Folks said they received nearly 30 hours of audio-video that they needed to go through before they could provide a realistic timeline for trial. Another hearing for his case is set for later this month.
A Venati man is facing multiple charges after allegedly breaking into a home and assaulting one of its occupants. 18-year-old Enoch Peter is charged with felony assault, robbery in the first degree, and 2 counts of burglary in the second degree. Peter appeared in Fairbanks Superior Court and pleaded not guilty to all the charges. Court documents say Peter entered the Venati home uninvited and then took several items after pointing a knife at the victim's chest. Troopers said Peter then beat the occupant, punching and kicking him, which forced him to the ground. The victim was taken to a medical center for treatment of injuries sustained during the assault.
One of the 4 suspects in an alleged string of thefts was arraigned yesterday afternoon in Fairbanks Superior Court. 18-year-old Samuel Thompson is charged with criminal mischief and attempted burglary. Thompson is the only one of the 4 being charged as an adult in the case. Fairbanks police say Thompson and 3 juveniles were found with stolen property after numerous residents of Sophie's Plaza reported that someone had rummaged through their cars. The 4 teens were later spotted near Midas, where another burglary was reported, and all were taken into custody.
Fairbanks Police Department is seeking the public's assistance in a reckless driving case. According to police, 23-year-old Wyatt Martin has been arrested and charged with reckless driving after a, quote, report every dangerous driver immediately or ready call this afternoon. Martin reportedly was swerving in and out of the lanes, attempting to bully drivers out of the way. So while doing so, he nearly knocked over the cones in the construction zone northbound on the Richardson Highway. Now, one witness said Martin was tailgating numerous drivers at high speeds and at one point almost crashed his vehicle while attempting to pass other motorists.
As the driver left the stop sign, crossing the Richardson Highway onto the old Richardson Highway, the complainant stated that he had accelerated at such a rate of speed that a vehicle in front of him had to enter oncoming traffic to avoid what I can only assume the driver thought was going to be a collision.
Now, police say the vehicle was a red 2008 GMC Sierra with license plate FFW297. If you saw this driver, you are asked to phone FPD at 450-6500.
All right, when we come back, heavy rains are bringing problems to schools.
Also, attendance at the fair was down this year. We'll have those details next. Stay with us.
Welcome back to the Fbx Evening News. The recent heavy rains that inundated the Fairbanks area Monday and Tuesday have not only caused rivers to rise dramatically, they're also giving the school district a real headache. It seems that the rains have also taken their toll on the roofs of 3 schools in the area. University Park, Tanana Middle School, and Tickasuk Brown Elementary reported major leaks from the downpours. Officials with the school district say they are not surprised as the roofs are more than 25 years old and were scheduled for repairs next summer.
What we're finding is that after the roofs are about 25 years old, they start to fail, and so you'll have these little wear holes in various places, and depending on the amount of rainfall that we get, we reach different levels. You can fix a leak in one of the valleys, and if you get an extensive amount of rain, it just pushes the leak up to the next hole further up the valley.
Attendance at the Tanana Valley State Fair was down for the 2nd year in a row. According to the fair's general manager, Joyce Whitehorn, the venue failed to break the 100,000 visitor mark. Although the fair did not add a 10th day as in years before, Whitehorn said she believed they had a good turnout. This year, according to Whitehorn, was all about bringing the fair back to the community despite the issues faced prior to this year's opening. She said there are numerous factors that affect attendance.
Attendance was down from previous years. We had about 92,500 people come through our gates, but it is also the weather, the economy of the situation. Arctic Winter Games took a lot of funds out of this area too, and getting ready for school and for the winter, for fuel prices and wood and everything. So we were down, but I still believe we had a wonderful fair.
The fair still faces lawsuits from the previous carnival provider, Golden Wheel Amusement, as well as their previous alcohol vendor, Lavelle's Bistro. Whitehorn also noted that those lawsuits are both still pending in court.
An Alaska State panel created to increase the consumption and purchase of local farm products and wild seafood has scheduled a meeting next week in Fairbanks. The Alaska Food Resource Working Group is seeking testimony from the meat processing industry at the meeting taking place from 10 a.m. to noon on Wednesday. Members of the group include representatives of 8 state agencies. The group is led by the State Department of Natural Resources and was created to recommend policies and measures. The meeting is open to the public and will be held in the conference room of the Fairbanks Regional Public Health Center.
Well, Alaska, as we all know, is pretty remote, and in an emergency, if Alaska is cut off from the rest of the world or the lower 48, our food supply is only going to last us so long in the grocery stores. So we want to try and look for ways that we can help that situation and improve our reliance on local foods.
U.S. and Korean airmen from 2 bases in the ROK are teaming up for another edition of Red Flag Alaska at Eielson Air Force Base. Monty Bowen has details now in this week's military report.
To prepare for next year's exercise, 2 squadrons from Korea held a mini drill called Buddy Wing 14-8. The exercise prepares both ROKAF and Wolfpack fighter pilots for Red Flag Alaska by providing them an opportunity to exchange ideas, experience cultural differences, discuss and practice combined tactics, and plan brief, fly, and debrief missions together.
There's lots of things that we can do. Exercises like this, where we get to provide some of our lessons learned, shepherd them a little bit, and we also get to learn how they might do some of those actions differently.
The upcoming Red Flag Alaska deployment in October will mark the first time in history that the ROK F-16s have crossed over the Pacific Ocean. This is Monty Bowen reporting.
The Military Report is brought to you by Stanley Nissan. Innovation for all.
So, guess what?
What?
You want to know?
Yeah, I do.
Joe Cook is up next with sports, and he has news about former Nanook hockey players that will be playing in the pros this season.
Right, and he's also got Nanook volleyball and this week's high school football matchups. Joe
Sweet.
Cook with sports after the break.
Welcome back, Interior Alaska. Joe Cook here with your Wednesday Sports. Former Nanack hockey players could end up facing each other on the ice this upcoming ECHL season. Today, the Cincinnati Cyclones of the ECHL signed former Nanack defenseman and assistant captain Michael Quinn. Last season, Quinn posted a career-high 24 points. He finished with 58 points in 129 career games for UAF. The Cyclones are affiliates of the Florida Panthers and Nashville Predators. Also, former UAF hockey captain Colton Beck signed with the Idaho Steelheads of the ECHL. The team announced the signing yesterday in a press release. After graduating with 101 career points and 39 points in his senior season, Beck signed an amateur tryout contract with the St. John's Ice Caps of the AHL. But now he'll be with the Steelheads, who are affiliates of the Dallas Stars and the Texas Stars of the AHL. Now, Andy Toronto, also a former Nanack, won the Kelly Cup as a part of the Alaska Aces this past season. The Aces defeated Quinn's new team, the Cyclones, for the Cup. The Steelheads, Cyclones, and Aces were all playoff teams last year. Tomorrow will be the first day of the 16th annual Flint Hills Resources Nanack Classic. The Nanack volleyball team will host a couple of Division II programs, Tiffin Dragons out of Ohio and the St. Edwards Hilltoppers from Texas. UAF will play St. Edwards tomorrow at 7 o'clock. The Dragons are led by fourth-year coach Dana Cordova, who went 14-13 overall and 5-13 in the GLIAC last season. The Hilltoppers and 12th-year head coach Sean Donahue come in being picked fourth in the Heartland Conference after a 14-16 season with a 12-6 conference record last year. The Nanacks are excited about finally being able to play a game that counts after having a full training camp. They feel prepared to execute their serve and pass game. Also, 7 new faces on the team this year, and some will get their first college game experience this weekend.
I think we're pretty prepared. I mean, we've been working really hard in the weight room and on the court, and we're really starting to come together as a team, and we just have really good chemistry. Everybody meshes super well on the team, and the older girls are super helpful and confident and pushing us, and it's really great.
Yeah, we have 2 things that we're working on. One is our serve and pass game. We want to be the best serve-receive passers, not only in the GNAC, but in terms of every match that we play, we want to win the serve and pass game. Statistically, we will win if we win the serve and pass, and that's why we put so much emphasis on it. We want to hit pin to pin. We want to really work hard in the middle when it's open to have one-on-one blockers, so we're really going to work hard there up at the net.
Well, yesterday, 3 high school tennis teams dueled on the Dan Ramras Community Tennis Courts. Yep. 3, Lathrop and the Hutchinson Owlson team. John Rice is representing Owlson this season as their lone player. Despite the commendable effort by Rice, Lathrop's James Kardash defeated Rice 6-2, 6-1. Lathrop would sweep the Hutch Owlson team 7-0, but it wasn't easy. Kyle Hackett won 7-5, 6-3 over Hutchinson's Garrett Snyder in the boys' number 2 singles match. And the match of the day was in girls doubles. Hutchinson's Ashley Stark and Anastasia Ante combined for some nice volley shots, but Lathrop's Cherish McLean and Amara Hackett toughed it out. Hackett and McLean won 6-2, 2-6, 10-7 to secure Lathrop's sweep in every match. The Malamutes will play the Monroe Rams next Tuesday at the DRCT courts. Also in high school tennis, North Pole Patriots won convincingly over the Monroe Rams 6-1. Liam Potman, Dana LeMay, and the boys doubles team of Kevin Blanchard and Terrell LeMay all earned sweeps. Morgan Withers of the Monroe team won 6-1, 6-4 over Tess Davis for the Rams' lone win. The Patriots played West Valley on Thursday, and Monroe will face Hutchinson on Thursday as well. And there are some big matchups coming up this week for high school football. The number 2 ranked Allison Ravens will travel to 3rd-ranked Nikiski Bulldogs this Saturday for a 1 o'clock kickoff. The Bulldogs are the defending small schools champions, and this will be a rematch from last year's small schools semifinal game. And this Friday night is the Mayor's Bowl. The Malamutes will take on the Patriots at Patriot Pride Stadium in a non-conference game. Now, the Patriots won this matchup last season, but both teams come into Friday's game with 2-1 records. And the Monroe Rams, they travel to Seward this Saturday looking for their first win of the season with an 0-3 start. And also the West Valley Wolfpack will host the Wasilla Warriors this Saturday at 1 p.m. The Wolfpack will be having Play for Pink Day in support of the Breast Cancer Detection Center. West Valley goes into their 2nd conference game of the year with a 0-3 record. And that'll do it for sports tonight. Thanks for rocking with me for a little while. Mike Schultz is coming up next with your full weather forecast, and we'll catch you next time.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back into the Fairbanks Evening News. Mike Schultz with you once again, taking a look at the weather, and a beautiful day across the interior. If you cut out the winds a little bit, boy, it was chilly with those winds blowing. a little brisk to say the least, and we're looking at the winds to die down. But it's going to get chilly tonight, really cold, probably below 30 degrees in many areas. So we'll tell you more about that in just a little bit. Our photograph tonight, sent in by Charles Foster III, a cabin with an aurora. As you can see here, the aurora in the background. Nice job of capturing that. And we're probably going to see auroras again tonight. They were out a little bit last night. What's going on as far as the numbers out the airport? Well, right now we're looking at 51 degrees after a high of 52. The low last night, 33. Record high, very nice, 78 in 1917. Just the opposite in 1928, 23 for the overnight record low. Sunrise and sunset, about 14 hours and 16 minutes of daylight. That's a loss of 7 minutes from yesterday. And the winds are gusting out of the west up to 18 miles per hour. On our satellite radar, a lot of moisture down across the southern half of the state. That's bringing rain to many areas of the Kenai Peninsula right on into the Anchorage Bowl. But to north of the Alaska Range, things look pretty good. Just a few showers that moved out to the east of us, and that is it. Clear skies out to the west, and that's going to continue. And what's going on across the rest of the state? Well, over southeast Alaska, you can see here a little rain falling around Juneau, 54 degrees there. Ketchikan at 64. And over the rest of the state, a little snow in the North Slope at Barrow, 35. 47 and partly cloudy at Nome. Lower 48 weather, again, like it has been for the last few days, clear to partly cloudy skies out to the west. That's not going to continue, though. A lot of moisture expected to come up from the south in association with two tropical storms, one Dolly and one Norbert, and they're going to bring a lot of weather with them. In fact, flash flood threats are expected for Sunday and Monday through much of Arizona into New Mexico. Even Southern California will be experiencing that. The overall jet stream, once again, remaining well to the north. Hot temperatures continuing out to the west. Very hot and steamy over the eastern half of the country. Well, back to Alaska for tomorrow. Here's what it looks like. In the northern sections, rain and snow showers expected at Barrow. Mostly sunny skies for the Nome area and also at Fort Yukon. And the same can be said for the interior. Once again, looking at lots of sunshine for Fairbanks, Healy, and Delta Junction. And temperatures trying to get near that 60-degree mark. Over southeast Alaska, scattered showers for Juneau. Rain expected in Ketchikan. And over the southwest part of the state, we're looking at, for the most part, rain likely for Cold Bay. A chance of rain for Kodiak and partly cloudy skies for Bethel. And down around the Anchorage Bowl, more rain expected in the forecast there, developing in the Anchorage area and Homer, and even more rain expected in the Valdez area. Okay, time once again for our kids' weather. And all this week we've been looking at weather facts. We'll continue that. In 1961, Denver, Colorado had more than 4 inches of snow by the end of the evening, and that is very unusual. In fact, the earliest snow the snow has ever fallen in Denver. Again, thanks to Mount McKinley Bank, and like I said, next week we'll resume with our kids from Arctic Light Elementary School. All right, here's your forecast for the remainder of the night. Flood update. Once again, a flood warning remains in effect for the Upper Chena River to the Moose Creek Dam until 8:45 tomorrow night, and after that, things will get better. And as far as our forecast is concerned, partly cloudy and very cold, 29 degrees at the Fairbanks Airport. In the lower lying areas, it can get a bit chillier, I should say. Is there such a word as chillier? Colder, how's that? 29 degrees, like I said, for the overnight low, and auroras are possible too. Now, tomorrow's forecast, a little bit of recovery there, 56 degrees, increasing clouds, and the good news is on the 5-day outlook here, as you can see, we're looking at partly cloudy skies all the way through the 5-day period, with the temperatures rising to the low to mid 60s once again. And overnight lows will also be warming up very nicely, looking at close to 40 degrees by the end of the 5-day period. No precipitation in the forecast, but Daryl, I did get a call from some folks in Tok, and they had a couple inches of snow last night.
Sticking snow, or
yeah,
did it melt?
They sent me photos, and we'll show them with you tomorrow night, or we'll at least give you one of them tomorrow night, but that is kind of scary.
And kind of close, too. Tok isn't that far away from us.
Not that far away,
so,
no.
Yeah. I mean, and I tell you what, we've been trying to not turn on the boiler in the night, but last night we just had to. And, of course, tonight with temperatures in the 20s.
Yeah.
Whew, man, yeah, absolutely. That is just cold, cold.
But we are going to recover.
Yeah, well,
we'll be recovering
that's
this
interesting because those temperatures that we see by the end of the week almost look like summer temperatures for us. So
the end of summer temperatures.
Well, I guess so. I guess
You know,
it's
I
still not official.
haven't seen any trees turning yet either.
I have, but they're not turning quickly. But I
Yeah.
have a feeling that once they do, they'll just on a dime.
Keep an eye on that.
Yeah, very good. All right. Well, thank you, Mike. And that'll wrap up this edition of the Fairbanks Evening News. We are glad you could join us.
Now, tonight on NBC Nightly News, see how country star Tim McGraw is helping military vets secure their own homes. That's up next with Brian Williams.
And you can always join us here 6 days a week at 6 and 11 or online anytime, webcenter11.com.
That will do it from all of us here at the News Center. Have a good night, everyone. We'll see you back here at 11.